Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and for the last 30 minutes, I have been listening to a blower outside that's like right next door, and so I had to put this video off. But I had it ready to go, but the blower was just too loud, and I think it may have drowned me out. Now, I want to focus in on this first article here, and I want to kind of lay this out for you. This is from CoinDesk. It's called Storming the Gates, How Crypto Davos Became a Thing. And first of all, it's important that you understand Davos is where the World Economic Forum is going to happen. Donald Trump will be there. Christine Lagarde will be there. And you guessed it, Brad Garlinghouse will be there. They're having the Ripple panel. Brad Garlinghouse has been there at least for the last 2 or 3 years, I think. But Davos is every year, all of the most powerful people in finance meet in Davos at this World Economic Forum. It's where things get done, okay? These people meet and try to cut deals and all sorts of things. But what this article is about is it put a smile on my face when I read it. The gist of this article is that the crypto community at some point realized that they were going to have to start working their way into Davos, okay, and for anything to really happen in crypto, it was going to have to go through these same powerful and elite people that anybody who's like a major Bitcoin maxi says they hate and all this. Well, I've told the story many times from 2013 how I went down the list of all the cryptos and I said, look, these guys at Ripple are the only people in this list that I can see that are doing the adult thing, and they've decided to go and go to the regulators right out of the gate and work with the regulators from the beginning because it's the adult thing to do. And I've also said, look, especially after the financial crisis, I'm no more of a fan of the government and banks than you are. And so the point there is, I realized, hey, nothing would have made me happier than if I could have been a Bitcoin guy and said, yeah, down with the banks if I thought that would ever happen. But I know better than that at age 45, soon to be 46. This idea of going to regulators is what anybody who has any experience in the business world would do. The powers that be aren't going anywhere. There's not going to be a revolution that's going to make you rich. And if there is a physical revolution that makes you rich in Bitcoin or whatever, it's going to take a freaking long time, and there's going to be a lot of blood. There's going to be, as Brad Garlinghouse said, there's going to be tanks involved because these countries are not going to give up the control of money without tanks involved. That's what this article is about. I wanted to read you the last part of this article. And if you're an XRP holder, this pretty much spells out why we've done right, why this was the right way to go all along. It says, with the combination of bright, motivated people, ideas turn into action here in Davos. From investments to business deals to project launches, no matter how great the tech, we are humans who make connections by meeting each other, spending time with each other, and ultimately collaborating with each other. The key for Crypto Davos is to keep influencing and building bridges with the establishment to yield the societal change we want. Blockchain works best when it's collaborative. The same holds true at Davos. Crypto Davos can improve and scale with the resources of large institutions. Establishment Davos can reimagine business models and government services to create a more equitable and functional society. Meanwhile, Ripple and the greatest digital asset ever created, XRP, this has been being done since 2013 with this company, and it's the only one that's been doing that for that long a period of time. These were the smartest guys in the room. They got together. They knew what they were going to do, and they have done it. And this is your confirmation if you needed one. Crypto Davos will be in the title of this video. And like I said, Brad Garlinghouse is going to be there on the 23rd. Now let's look at the market, folks. The market's pulled back a little and slowed down a little, but I wanted to let you know that this right here, the volumes you're seeing and the movement of all of this XRP, just a week ago, you weren't seeing the flows in these areas. Now, keep in mind, they're asleep over here right now in Japan, Korea, and all that. It'll be interesting to see what happens this afternoon, maybe around 5 o'clock Eastern time when the waking up begins over that way. This will majorly pick up. But the volumes just here in the United States are tremendous. Look at this. I want to show you this just to put all this into some perspective. This is what, let me hit a refresh on this. This is what we've experienced for the first 15 days of 2020. Look at those 7-day returns, even XRP, 10%. 7-day returns, we've got a return of 177% on Bitcoin SV. Do you think that is ignored? Do you think FOMO happens as a result of these things? Look at this. In 30 days, Bitcoin SV is up 244%. Yes, you're reading that right, folks. Now I want to show you this. What you're looking at here, this is Coinbase Pro. And just so you know, and we've got XRP up 5.5% today. Now, just so you know, this number right here, just about a week ago, this number right here was the XRP USD volume was at about $14 million on Coinbase Pro. I remember because I looked at it, I was buying some. $14 million. It's now, the volume's $93.5 million, 24-hour volume. That means something. Okay. I saw this and I wanted to at least show this. This guy's named Zach Roros. I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, at Harvard House in Manhattan yesterday, where he was a special speaker on cryptocurrencies. You know what I think about when I see things like this? I bet Brad Garlinghouse is sick and tired of traveling. I have to believe that Brad Garlinghouse's wife must know the big picture, because my wife would be just angry all the time if I was gone that much. It would be tough. That's not easy. What he's doing, he definitely deserves his place in the record books and his place in history, because this guy has taken one for the team, if anybody has. Okay, Cryptopolis 2020 outlook. Pensions will increase allocations to hedge funds due to low interest rates. Pension funds have an actuarial rate of return assumption of 7.5% and will invest in uncorrelated strategies. He puts uncorrelated in all caps, and let me tell you why, because Cryptopolis is smart. He knows. And give him a follow if you don't already. This guy's got like 40 years experience in finance. This guy's really bright. I met him in Vegas. All right. Uncorrelated strategies. What he's talking about there is asset allocation, folks. I've shown you this on my channel before. I'm going to show you again. Uncorrelated assets. When a financial advisor goes and meets, I don't care if it's a financial advisor for a pension or a financial advisor that meets you in your home, he's going to tell you that you need to allocate your assets. If you have $500,000, he's going to explain to you that the right way to invest is to allocate those assets and allocate them percentage-wise based on your risk tolerance. Okay, a pension fund has a risk tolerance, and their risk tolerance is different from a 60-year-old person who has just retired from a job or whatever. But everybody has a risk tolerance. Every entity has a risk tolerance that invests. What you're looking at is asset class returns, and all of these asset classes are uncorrelated to each other. They show them with different colors, and that what this is showing you that in the year 2000. Real estate investment trusts perform the best, followed by high-grade bonds, then followed by cash, then followed by an asset allocation portfolio. They're showing you that the asset allocated portfolio it kind of rises up here to the top or in the middle. It keeps you balanced. Well, look, every year a different asset class performs well. And anytime that the financial world sees something that could be considered an uncorrelated asset class, it's a dream come true, because an uncorrelated asset class means that they can add that to the mix in their clients' portfolios, and all of a sudden they've got even more diversification. So what I've been saying for quite a while on this channel, because I was a financial advisor for Morgan Stanley, okay, I'm not now. This is what they taught us, and what I say to you, any of you that are new listening to my voice, listen and listen good. Not some, but every financial advisor, retail or institutional across this world, before this is all said and done, will be adding to their asset allocation in all of their clients' portfolios somewhere between 0.5% and 5%, and it will go to the first new asset class since bonds were created in the 1600s, which is digital assets. And lucky you if you're an XRP holder, because XRP is the greatest digital asset ever created. There you go. Now you have it. All right. This is from Leonidas. Ripple files motion to dismiss patent infringement case. Now, this is on his website, xrparcade.com. It's one of the best websites in the XRP Ripple community. You can go and check out this. These lawsuits, they're pretty meaningless to me, and I'll tell you why. Except for the security lawsuit, I think we're going to find out I think that's going to end up being a major winner for XRP holders eventually. But all of these other lawsuits, look, it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're a big business, you have lawyers and departments that are dedicated to dealing with lawsuits, because what happens is anytime there's anybody or any company that has a lot of money, guess what happens? Plaintiff attorneys around the world are looking for what's called deep pockets. And they're going, one way or another, they are going to figure out how to come after deep pockets. So lawsuits are just a part of doing business for Ripple or anybody else. So any of you that are seeing, oh no, Ripple's got a patent lawsuit. Well, just join the club, because ask Facebook how many lawsuits they have pending, or Google, or anybody else. Lawyers see the money and they sue the money. That's how the world works, unfortunately. There's a lot of things that should be done to stop some of those frivolous lawsuits, but ask the politicians about that. That's not my department. Okay, here we go. This is from Crypto D. I thought it was interesting. Don't really know much about what is going on here. Russian prime minister and government resign as Putin proposes sweeping constitutional changes. So Putin, who has basically put a stranglehold on power in Russia for many, many years now, as he leaves, I'll tell you this one thing, as he leaves, he now wants to make it constitutionally in Russia where a president, or whatever they call it over there, can only hold power for like 2 years. But now that he's leaving, that's okay to do. So that's how dictators run things, folks. And trust me, anybody that becomes the quote president over there, you can be assured he's going to have his hand in it too, or whoever else controls the place. Then Jonathan D sent me this. In a new court filing, Craig Wright claims to receive keys to $9.6 billion Bitcoin fortune. Now, what this is about is Craig Wright was sued by somebody, and more or less the court said, you're going to have to provide this Bitcoin. Okay. And I think he put it off for a while. And now he said in this article, it says, this is from Michael at VAL5 Links. A third party has provided the necessary information and key slice to unlock the encrypted file, seemingly referencing the mysterious unnamed intermediary with the private keys necessary to unlock the $9.6 billion Bitcoin trove. So now all of a sudden he gets a court order, and all of a sudden, oh, okay, now I've got it. I'm surprised that he even did that. Then from Nigel Farage, breaking, leave means leave, have been given approval to hold an event in Parliament Square on the 31st of January. Great news. It is a big moment in the history of this nation to celebrate. Register now. Brexit celebration. There's a lot of things going geopolitically right now, folks, that are going on. That's just, who knows where all this goes. But I feel good about my XRP investment. Ripple Partner from Michael at VAL5 links. Ripple Partner TransferGo, a fast-growing money transfer company, has some hours ago announced its partnership with a global payments platform, Currency Cloud, to foster P2P cross-border payments and launch in 14 new markets in the first quarter of 2020. Bring on the adoption, folks. All right, and this was interesting. Gunwatch, the long-term value is in emerging markets. Bond guru Jeffrey Gunwatch of Double Line Capital held an About Markets presentation in this webcast. Now, this is all I wanted to show you out of this was this right here. He wholly recommends a permanent gold allocation. He also thinks Bitcoin could go to $15,000, and they're talking about 2020 here. Just wanted to show you that part. That's the bond king, I think is what they call him. Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29 sent me this. January 8th, 2020, Thai exchange BitCub official. Let me see what that's really called. BitCub.com. Announced that it is now a Ripple official exchange partner and will be joining RippleNet. The announcement will accelerate ODL growth strategy in the APAC region where Ripple has gained considerable traction. This is from them, I guess. Is Ripple XRP leading the way for the banking sector? When are customers going to have access? Ripple is one of the key players for banks to realize significant benefits. Ripple is to establish an institutional cross-border payment with XRP, an open source for access and participation in the public sector of XRP cash flow, a standalone digital currency used to facilitate transactions on the Ripple network. BitCub, Ripple's official exchange partner in Thailand, is joining the RippleNet program. We are on a mission of humanizing blockchain experience where people will inherently utilize cryptocurrency as a transaction protocol on the back end in order to receive as well as transfer money at a fraction of the cost across the globe. Within early next year, global money remittance at a much cheaper rate would be feasible. There you go. At Matthew Liney, Ripple partner Gates Foundation mobile money projects in developing world to go live this year, folks. That's with Bill Gates. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I'm not going to go into this article any further. I think that's all we need there. Okay, another one from Cryptopolis. The New York Fed provides an overnight repo markets to keep overnight rates artificially suppressed and to meet rising demand of banks for liquidity. The temporary liquidity crisis has apparently become permanent. In this article, they're just talking about how this thing is just, they're not stopping all of this repo stuff. Now, this is just hilarious. Another hilarious, the crypto utility guy sent me this. It's another hilarious installment from XRP, the Standard Productions. For those of you that don't know, this is a parody blog on Coil that XRP, the Standard Productions does. And here we go. David Schwartz appears on Joe Rogan, forgets to mention XRP or Ripple. Why? Screamed Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse in a phone interview with XRP Productions about the matter. For the love of God, why? Yeah, I kind of regret that, said Schwartz after the 3-hour Rogan interview, in which he mostly discussed his prowess in the popular online game, The Elder Scrolls, and touched on dozens of subjects from solving quadratic equations to proper soldering techniques. But to be fair, there are so many things that fascinate me. People can't expect me to cover everything, right? And then the digital asset investor even apparently in this parody tweeted this out 3 hours ago on Joe Rogan. Millions of people listening, watching. The best advocate of XRP and Ripple in the whole world. And he talks about Elder Scrolls. I think I'm going to be sick. I could totally hear myself saying that. So I just thought that was funny. But you know what else is funny is that, you know, I met David Schwartz and he is so smart. I can only imagine the guy has to, at this point, as much as he's done, he has to be kind of bored at this point. I mean, the guy is the $1 trillion man. He has already laid the foundation for the world to change. He's got to be twiddling his thumbs at this point, I imagine. So maybe he does want to talk about the Elder Scrolls. All right. And I wanted to finish this up. by talking to a lot of you who have been through this whole bear market. There's just a handful of quotes here I wanted to read you, because this is what life's all about, folks. It's never easy. It's never easy to be the ones that are screaming from the rooftops, or to be the ones who are doing the things that, and you question yourself, is this the right thing? It's not easy, folks, but the winners in this life are the ones that don't follow the herd. I wanted to show you a few of the quotes I found. One of the greatest challenges in life is being yourself in a world that's trying to make you like everyone else. And I think everybody can identify with that. And this one's also Bertrand Russell, I believe. Collective fear stimulates herd instinct. Now, this is what I've seen even in the XRP community over in Twitter and all the last few months as people have gone negative. Collective fear stimulates herd instinct and tends to produce ferocity toward those who are not regarded as members of the herd. We've seen all this. We've experienced all this, folks, and it's not easy to not follow the herd. Trust me. And finally, the opposite of courage, this is from Rollo May, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it's conformity. The hardest thing you will ever do, especially if you're young listening to me, the hardest thing you will ever do in your entire life is to not conform, to be willing to do your own thing, even when everybody's pulling at you, to just follow and do what everybody else is doing. Well, I can tell you right here as I sit here, if I had done what everybody else was doing, I would not have invested in XRP in 2013. If I had done what everybody else was doing, I would not have been doing a YouTube channel for the last year and a half, no matter how bad it got in this market. I would not have been able to do that. Doing what you feel is right in your gut, and especially where it involves investing. Investing at the top of the markets when everybody else is hearing about it on the news and how great it is not how you make money. Investing in what you believe in and what you've studied and researched when nobody is doing it is how you make money. Let me show you this because we've only got 2 days left. Ledger Nano S is in the description of my videos. I've got a coupon code for you to get 20% off. It's only for the first 200 people, and it's only going to last 2 more days. The sale's over on the 17th. So if you haven't done it and you need one, this is how I store my digital assets, so that I control my private keys myself, and it's not on the exchanges. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it's conformity. Thank you for listening.